Story 1. Oh yes, let me tell you the tale. In my college days, there was a young woman from Ukraine who attended our small school of fewer than 1,000 people. Unbelievably attractive, extremely athletic, and made her interest fairly well known without much delay. We hung out for some months before things got intimate. In my dorm, on the bed, clothes coming off, everything's good. She's on top and, as one does when kissing, my eyes are closed. She suddenly stops, and I feel something at my neck. It's a kitchen knife. She had taken one from the kitchen when she went to use the bathroom and somehow hidden it. I freeze. She tells me to trust her. I informed her that if she cut my throat, I'd do my best to make sure she goes down with me. 5 solid seconds pass, and she removes the knife and goes to resume making out. I politely ask her to leave. She gets upset, can't understand why I want her out. Leaves after another solid minute of arguing, stabbing the knife into the cheap drywall on the way out. The next day, she sets a car on fire. Police go to her room, and a grappling hook and lots of lye are found in her possession. Story 2. When I was 16, I was in intensive outpatient treatment for an eating disorder. An attractive girl was clearly interested in me. After a while of making it extremely obvious, one day she took me into the back stairwell and we made out. She then told me she was 21. It was weird she was into me knowing my age. But okay. We stole a blanket from the place, and after we got out, we walked around some nearby park areas, sat, talked, laid with each other, and made out some more. It was actually really nice that first day. I had given her my cell number, and she immediately started texting and calling me nonstop. This went on for 2 days, day and night. I was freaked out and trying to gently cool it. The counselors brought me in for an emergency meeting the next day and explained that she was extremely troubled. Shocker. I know. This had happened before with other patients over the years. She had been in and out of treatment for several years, well known to the staff. I stopped answering texts and calls. They kept her separated from me during the day and had me leave early. Saturday morning, my mom knocked on my door at around 6:30 a.m., saying, "Hey, there's someone named Amy calling for you." She knew my last name, and I guess I had mentioned my hometown. The clinic was in the nearest city. At some point, I asked her how she got my home number, and she said she called a bunch of listings with my last name asking for me until she got the right one. I don't even know how she got listings of numbers in my town. She asked to come to where I live so she could see my bedroom and meet my mom, and just kept going on and on manically. I eventually got her off the phone and explained everything to my mom. We got a hold of the place and let the counselors know, and they said they would keep us separated and deal with her. They basically told me to just completely ignore her. When I went back that Monday, she wasn't there but was staking out the entrance, because when I left, she appeared a block down the road and was screaming about how much she loved me, that we were meant to get married and have babies, and how I betrayed her, etc. I just apologized and kept walking until I got to my train station, then called the clinic and told them what happened. Never saw her again. This all happened over a period of 1 week. She was really attractive, though. Story 3. Went on a date with a girl I met at a general educational development practice test. We exchanged numbers and met up the next day. The date went really well, and I let her wear one of my favorite jackets because it was cold out. I had just started a new job the day after our date, so I didn't text her all day because I was in training. When I got off work, I checked my phone to find out she had burned my favorite jacket because I hadn't texted back. Khilno. Story 4. Went on a couple of dates with this girl. She was nice, pretty, funny, and smart. One night, I got too drunk with coworkers and, long story short, ended up in bed with a concussion for a few days. A couple of days into my recovery, she came by with soup to see if I was okay. I thought that was nice, but I still wasn't feeling up for much. I thanked her for the soup, but told her I was going to go back to sleep. She said no problem. I heard her walk out, open the front door, and close the front door. But something didn't seem right. I felt a presence. I went back to scrolling Reddit on my phone before going back to my nap. About 5 minutes later, she came around the corner. She said she pretended to leave but then stayed to see if I was lying about being sick. There were a couple of other weird things that I had brushed off. But that was the last straw for me with her. The soup was good, though. Story 5. Yes, I met a girl at a bar when I was in my early 20s. She was really attractive. We had a one-night stand. I called her a couple of times after that, but she never answered or returned my calls, so I stopped trying. About a week after the one-night stand, I came home to a teddy bear on my porch. No note or anything. A couple of days after that, flowers. Still no note. Neither my roommate nor I could figure out who it was meant for or who was leaving them. A few days after that, another teddy bear, but this time it was on my bed. I asked my roommate and he swore he had no idea how it got there. I really thought he was messing with me, but the following week, he went out of town to see his mom across the country. I came home to flower petals all over my bed and candles lit. It really scared me. I searched the house but couldn't find anybody or any way someone might have gotten in without a key. The very next day, I was leaving for the day, but as I pulled down the street, I felt like I should go back. I pulled up and saw the last couple of seconds of my automatic garage door closing. I ran into my house, half terrified, half on an adrenaline rush, yelling, "I know you're in here." I ran right up to my room and saw a dozen roses dropped on the floor. I found her in my closet, crying and repeating, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry." I was stunned. I just told her to leave. I have no idea what happened to her, but I never saw her again. Story 6. Not my story, but a good one nonetheless. My buddy from law school is divorced and started dating again using apps like Match, Tinder, and so on. He meets a gorgeous former college athlete who never had kids but desperately wanted them. He tells her that he had a vasectomy after a month or so of dating. She insists she does not care and wants to be with him forever. First red flag after a month. Things are fine and he's into her as well. Fast forward 4 months. She claims to be 3 months pregnant with his child. He tells her that it is impossible as he is 100% sterile. She insists. Fast forward 5 more months. The child is born looking 100% Caucasian. He's black. She insists on a paternity test. The results confirm it is not his child. She sends him birthday photos of the kid every year. Story 7. I dated a girl that was staggeringly attractive but had some issues. After I broke up with her and went basically no contact, a few months passed, and I started seeing someone else. We were across the street hanging out with the neighbors, and I happened to run home to grab something, and she was in my house. It was late, and I'm still not sure how I didn't see her car. She must have parked a few doors down. She was in pajamas and apparently planning to stay the night. I told her she absolutely had to go or I was calling the police. She cried and called me a bunch of names but did leave peacefully otherwise. Shortly after that, I moved, but I still get queasy thinking about it. I can't imagine what would have happened if it had been the girl I was seeing that went back across the street first. Story 8. There was this girl I hooked up with kind of regularly during the first semester of my freshman year in college. She lived in the same building as me. She was very attractive. She told me that she knew precisely how she would die. She would crash her car into a telephone pole in the rain. She refused to take prescribed medication because she believed it was a government plot to make her less spiritually creative. She told me that a psychic had predicted she would cheat on a man with my name and leave him heartbroken. She found my mom on Facebook and told her a bunch of lies and did the same thing to my sister. She hooked up with my roommate but said it didn't count as sex because his soul is on a different level than ours. When I said I wasn't going to see her anymore, she accused me of sexual assault. She still randomly texts me sometimes about my beautiful soul and how I'm a perfect person, years after I last saw her. Story 9. My roommate had a Tinder girl over one night. They had just finished a movie, which, as we all know, is a pivotal point on a Tinder date. Are you staying over or leaving? I was loving every second as the awkward tension rose. Then she suggested we watch funny YouTube videos. I sat down to join them for a good laugh. She started slowly typing in letter by letter on the remote. Animals getting hit by cars. My roommate and I looked at each other, expecting that to be the punchline to an awkward joke. Nope. She flipped on Russian dashcam videos of moose getting hit by cars, and she was cracking up while she commentated on the collisions. I quickly texted my roommate, "What the heck is going on?" He responded, "I don't know, but make her leave." So I casually said to her, "Let me choose the next video since I know what you like now." She said, "No, one more, just one more." I couldn't snatch the remote from her because she was sitting in another chair. She typed in humans getting hit by cars. Before we knew it, we were watching a top 40 countdown of pedestrians getting violently hit by cars. A top 40 countdown. I politely bailed and said, "It was nice meeting you, and I'm sure I'll see you again soon." I gave my roommate a smirk and locked myself and our dog in my room. They kept watching videos, and I overheard a potato chip bag aggressively crinkling, and I overheard her say, "Huh, well, I guess kissing isn't your forte, ha ha ha." My roommate was pounding sour cream and onion chips so they wouldn't have to kiss goodbye. With that, I peacefully went to sleep knowing that was the most awkward date I've ever been a part of. Story 10. Not so much creepy as, well, you'll see. I organized a blind date off Craigslist several years ago just for fun. The date went really well. She was really, really attractive, and we got on really well. She was completely new to the city, didn't know anyone, and had moved for work. Afterward, we started texting. She then started calling me by someone else's name, insisting I was this other person. Things got even weirder. She would say some strange, completely incongruent stuff, properly paranoid stuff that I've only seen in a couple of people I've known. I started to think she was legitimately schizophrenic. I was a little scared of some of the stuff she was saying, but also worried because she had no support in this new city. It was pretty hard to judge by text and email, but I think once she became lucid again, she freaked out a bit and never wanted to speak to me again. I told her if she needed support, here's my phone number, my email address, because I knew she didn't have anyone to rely on here, and I know how difficult mental health stuff is because of my own problems. But at the same time, I was half hoping that she wouldn't contact me. It was an intense couple of weeks anyway, and I never heard from her again. Story 11. Yes. This girl I worked with in high school, we both worked at a local pizza place. She was super pretty, but absolutely had this, I'm completely insane vibe. She once lunged at a group of us with a butcher's knife, and at the last second stopped and started laughing like it was a great joke. I can't begin to describe the kind of creepy vibes she gave off all the time. Story 12. I met a girl during my first week of college when we paired for a project. We exchanged numbers to work on the assignment, casually chatted like normal acquaintances, and eventually stopped once the project was over. She was cute and really nice, but the first month of college is a blur of meeting new people and having responsibilities, so I didn't think anything of it. Fast forward a few weeks. I am waiting for a cab with a friend to go to a party when I hear from behind me, "Why didn't you text me back?" I turn to see the girl from class, and in my inebriated panicked stare, managed to pull something along the lines of, "I was intimidated by how cute you are. Not my best." She proceeded to grab me, pull me and my friend into a different cab and take us to a party, where she spent several hours dancing, making out and whispering things to me. As a newly minted freshman, I will admit I was pretty excited. She took me back to her place, where I obviously thought the antics at the party would continue. However, she proceeded to sit me down and list all of the things I needed to do before I would have the privilege of dating her. These varied from taking her on at least 3 dinners of at least $150, texting her for several weeks straight, to absolutely strange things like telling me to focus on my triceps more in the gym, buying new clothes, and texting my ex from home that I was seeing someone new. To this day, I am proud of my drunk and impulsive college self for realizing the situation was not right and opting for late-night Taco Bell instead. Story 13. First Tinder date. She showed up 45 minutes late to the restaurant. Why did I even wait? She shows up, we have a good time, tells me she loves me as we walk out of the restaurant to leave. Nah. Story 14. Yep. 2 times off the top of my head. 1. A girl was on a dating app, and we started chatting back and forth. She asked if we could take it to text, and so I did. Then the insecurities and constant texting started. She immediately asked me to go to church with her, saying she needed a boyfriend, and she couldn't understand why, despite being attractive, no one wanted to be with her. I think I responded about 5 times to her 30 or so messages in the span of a few minutes. I told her that maybe it wouldn't work out between us, and then I just quit responding. Eventually, she stopped messaging my phone and went back to the app. For almost a month, it was a daily message ranging from, "I'm sorry," to, "Hey, how are you?" to, the second was an attractive but heavily drunk girl that I seemed to run into every weekend at a particular bar. By the time I got there at 9 p.m., she was trashed and would immediately try to dance on me and ask me to take her home. I had no idea who this girl was and only loosely knew her name. I tried everything, pawned her off on her friends, asked other people to bail me out, and straight up told the bar staff. I started seeing her around at other spots, and she freaked me out. Eventually, she quit coming up to me, but I'd see her do it to other guys from then on. I felt bad for her and was concerned for her safety.